The Russian Revolution of 1917 was a pivotal event in world history that changed the course of the 20th century. It was led by the Bolshevik Party, whose leaders included Vladimir Lenin, Leon Trotsky, and Joseph Stalin. It is known as the Russian Revolution of 1917, but it was actually a series of events that took place over several years. In 1905, the Russian people first attempted a revolution when they rose up against the Tsar Nicholas II and his oppressive regime. They were demanding better working conditions, political freedom, and an end to the dictatorial rule of the Tsar. However, the Tsar's soldiers used force to suppress the protests, leading to the deaths of many innocent civilians. In 1914, Russia entered World War I. Nicholas II assumed direct command of the military. The war was a disaster for Russia. Its soldiers faced defeat and starvation on the front lines, while the economy collapsed at home. In March of 1917, a second revolution broke out in the city of Petrograd because the people had lost faith in their government. It was fueled by economic hardship and widespread discontent. Many sectors of the country joined forces to fight against the Tsar. These groups included socialist parties, liberal groups, workers' unions, and part of the military. Among all the socialist factions that fought against the Tsar were the Bolsheviks. They were led by Vladimir Lenin, and they were one of the most radical socialist groups in Russia at the time. This time, the revolution was successful. The Tsar was forced to step down, and his regime ended. A provisional government took power, but it was weak and ineffective. So, in October 1917, Lenin and his Bolsheviks staged a coup and overthrew the provisional government. They established the world's first socialist state. But after the revolution, the Bolsheviks faced many challenges. In 1918, civil war broke out between the Bolsheviks and their opponents. Leon Trotsky led the Red Army for the Bolsheviks. He fought against the White Army, which was made up of various anti-Bolshevik forces. The Red Army emerged victorious, but the country was devastated by the war. The period between 1918 and 1922 would become known as the Red Terror. During this time, the Bolsheviks carried out widespread political repression, mass killings, and torture, targeting political opponents, former Tsarist officials, and ordinary citizens that were suspected of opposing the regime. According to estimates, tens of thousands of people were executed. It was during this period that the Tsar Nicholas II and his family were executed by the Bolsheviks. In 1922, the Soviet Union is established, comprising Russia and several neighboring countries. The Bolsheviks renamed themselves the Communist Party, with Lenin as its leader. But Lenin died in 1924. And after a power struggle inside the Communist Party, Stalin emerged as the winner. He became the leader of the Soviet Union. In 1929, Trotsky was expelled from the country for being opposed to Stalin's policies. In 1936, Stalin began the Great Purge, which led to the detainment, confinement, and killing of millions of individuals who were suspected of opposing his regime. In 1940, Trotsky was assassinated in Mexico by a Soviet agent. In 1941, Nazi Germany invaded the Soviet Union. This forced Russia to enter the Second World War. The Soviet Union became one of the major Allied powers in the fight against Nazi Germany. World War II ended for Russia in May of 1945. Through its victory in the war, it gained significant territory, including the Baltic states, parts of Poland and Finland, and became a superpower in the aftermath of the war. After the war, Stalin's regime was characterized by strict control over all aspects of life, widespread repression, and forced industrialization. Stalin died in the year 1953, after suffering a stroke. His death marked the beginning of a period of significant change and transformation in Soviet society and in the country's politics. From the turbulent years that led up to the overthrow of the Tsarist regime, to the rise and fall of Soviet power under Stalin, the Russian Revolution of 1917 was a turning point that marked an unparalleled chapter in the history of our world.